Hi guys, so let's start with our lesson in taxation. So this one is lesson 1. So it asks here, what is taxation? So according to Crescencio Countian in 2002, it is the inherent power by which a sovereign state imposes financial burden upon person and property as a means of raising revenue in order to defray the necessary expenses of the government. So ibig sabihin, power siya ng government na mangolekta. So, since tayo ay nagtrabaho or nagkaroon tayo ng business, it is our duty na mag-present ng at least a part of our earnings para sa government. Kasi kung hindi, yung gastos ng government ay hindi nila mapupunuan dahil ang buhay ng gobyerno ay nanggagaling lang sa tax ng mga tao. Okay? So, taxation is the imposition of financial charges and other leeway upon a taxpayer. So, sabi dito, kahit individual ka or legal entity, or when we say legal entity, corporation or business na nagmamay-ari ka through tax, yan. So, punishable by law yan kapag naging tax evader ka or inevade mo or hindi ka nagbayad ng tamang tax sa government. So, magkakaroon ka ng certain charges or yung tinatawag na surcharge and other interest kapag hindi ka nakapagbayad ng tama sa iyong taxation. So, pwede kang makulong. So, sabi naman ni Justice Bitog noong 2000, according to sa book niya, it is a mode by which government make exactions for revenue in order to support their existence and carry out their legitimate objectives. So, ano ba yung legitimate objectives ng government? So, ang unang-unang objectives ng government ay makapag-share ng magandang pamumuhay sa society, gaya ng nagpapatayo ng mga school, mga private and public school. So, mostly mga public school and state universities, yung mga public hospital, gaya ng PGH. So, hindi nila kayang magpatayo privately, so sino ang magpo-provide niyan? Syempre yung government. So saan nanggagaling? Syempre sa tax. So kaya importante na yung tax natin ay talagang mag-exist and karapatan ng government na maningil o kumuha ng share niya sa atin, kasi kung hindi, hindi tayo makakapamuhay ng maayos. Okay? So sabi din dito, it is the most prevalent and the toughest of all the powers of government. So, kasi kapag hindi ka nagbayad, syempre may karapatan ng BIR. So, bali si BIR kasi ang nangongolekta ng taxes. So, may karapatan siya magpakulong. So, katulong niya yung COA, so ino-audit natin, chine-check natin kung tama yung ibinabayad na tax or ginagamit na tax para at least maging maayos yung gobyerno natin. So, dito sa Philippines, tax are divided into national tax and local tax. So, ano-ano ba yung mga yun? So, when we say national tax, for example, kumita ka, yung business mo, kumita. Okay? So, babayaran mo yan sa BIR. Yung kita mo, ang tawag doon ay income tax. Okay? So, kapag ikaw naman ay individual, yung income tax na yun, ang tawag ay withholding tax. Okay? Pag sinabi naman local tax, kunyari, nagbayad ka ng yung maliliit na binabayaran mo sa localities. Kunyari, nagbayad ka ng sedula. Yon, local tax yon. So, saan mo yung babayaran? So, instead na sa BIR, babayaran mo yon sa munisipyo. Other example is the real estate tax. So, doon ka magbabayad. Okay? So, ano-ano pa yung yung mga taxes na meron tayo? So, marami tayong taxes. So, pag sinabing percentage tax. So, kapag kumikita ka ng medyo maliit, hindi umaabot ng 3 million, so, babawasan ka ng 3% sa sales mo. So, ang tawag doon, percentage tax. Pero kapag you are earning more than 3 million, so, babayaran mo yon as your value-added tax. Okay, so, under dito, pag national tax, babayaran mo yan sa RDO or Revenue Regional District Office or Revenue District Office. So, dito sa 13, meron tayong tinatawag na RDO 54. So, this one is located in 13. So, dun tayo lahat nagbabayad ng ating taxes. Wherein all local taxes will be paid on our municipalities. Kunyari, dito sa school natin, we are under IMUS. So, doon tayo kukuha ng sedula sa IMUS. So, kung nakatira ka sa IMUS, syempre, yung iyong property tax, doon mo babayaran sa munisipyo ng IMUS. Ganon din sa DASMA. So, kung taga-DASMA ka, so doon mo siya babayaran. Okay, so history ng taxation. So, sabi dito, under Genesis 47:24, yung tax daw is already prevalent. Ibig sabihin, kung wala kang tax, syempre, hindi makakaikot ang gobyerno or hindi niya mapapasunod ang mga tao kasi wala siyang pambayad or hindi niya magagamit sa paraan para maiayos niya yung kanyang gobyerno kung walang taxes. So, sa panahon pa ng natin, nung unang panahon, nung wala pa, sa simula pa lang, so meron na pala talagang tax. So, according dito, in ancient Egypt, around 3000 BC to 28 BC, so, first dynasty of the Old Kingdom, so meron na syempreng tax dyan. So, si August Caesar, inintroduce niya yung inheritance tax sa mga tao. So, para pambayad daw ng retirement funds ng mga militar. So, yung tax na yon, yung 5% tax na yon, sa lahat ng kinikita ng tao, babawasan ng 5% para maipambayad sa military. Okay? So, si England naman, were first use yung tax as emergency measure. So, sa hospitalization naman. And kung ano yung problema ng bansa. Okay. So, inherent power of the state, we have three power. First one is the police power. So, may karapatan tayo na makapamuhay ng maayos, ng walang gulo. So, through policeman and other military. So, yon. Kaya malaki ang sahod nila kasi dapat daw maging maayos ang ating gobyerno sa tulong nila. And then we have eminent domain. So may karapatan ng gobyerno na kunin ang private property mo even though iyon. For example, kailangan magpatayo ng daan. So syempre, paano maipapatayo ng maayos yung daan kung nandun yung bahay mo or yung kung lupain mo man yan sa pagtatanim, etc. So ang gagawin ng gobyerno is babayaran ka. Okay? Ang tawag doon is eminent domain. Kasi kung ano man yung pag-aari mo ay pag-aari rin ng gobyerno. Okay, number 3 is the taxation power. So, sabi nga nila, once na ikaw ay already 18 years old, even though not yet working, you need to provide taxes through cedula. And then after working na, syempre, kung ano man yung kinikita mo, you have your withholding tax. And then the business, ganun din, kailangan niyang magbayad ng kanyang income tax and value-added tax. And for the other taxes, like, kunyari, yung mana mo, yung mga minana mo, or estate tax. So, syempre, bago mo siya makuha, syempre, magbabayad ka ng tax. Ganon din sa donation. And other things, like property taxes. Yan. So, maraming taxes tayo, iba-iba. So, it may be direct or indirect tax. But then, yung tax na yon ay part of the taxation power or inherent power of the state. Okay, purpose of taxation, syempre, number 1 is to have a revenue purpose or the primary purpose. Syempre, kailangan talaga ng gobyerno na may kita kasi nga, to provide the build program like yung mga bago nating MRT, LRT, yung mga daanan na bago, yung mga NLEX, SLEX, etc. So, yun. Kaya, ano pa, yung mga ospital, paaralan, yan yung primary purpose para yung economy natin tumaas, mag-boost. Kasi nga, kung mas maganda yung nakikita natin sa bansa, kung mas nakakatulong tayo sa mga tao, yun, syempre, gaganda yung ating economic life or yung economy natin ay tataas. And then, second one, syempre, purpose of taxation, di naman yun magagawa kung walang mga tao. Kaya yung secondary purpose natin is the compensatory purpose or regulatory purpose. So, ano yun? Syempre, sahod ng teacher, sahod ng mga pulis, sahod ng mga militar, sahod ng senador, sahod ng presidente ng Pilipinas, sahod ng mga congressman, barangay official, etc. Kasi sila yung mag-aano ng ating bansa. Okay? So, again, we have revenue purpose and compensatory purpose. So, ano naman yung exemption of the government? Syempre, meron tayong mga company na hindi pwedeng bawasan ng tax kasi exempted siya under the government rules. So, number 1, SSS. So, yung SSS mismo na business, dahil nagsiserve ka ng tao, they are not subject to any income tax. But then, yung mga employee na nandun, syempre, magbabayad sila ng tax. Ano pa? Kunyari, PhilHealth, yan, Pag-ibig. So, dahil yan ay under government, so the business is not subject to tax kasi hindi naman siya earning body. Pero yung mga tao na nandoon, syempre, part pa rin na magbabayad ng tax. Parang yung mga teacher, di ba? So, under siya ng public pero kailangan pa rin niya magbayad ng withholding tax. Okay? And then, the situs of taxation, when we say situs, it's place. So, kung saan ka nakatira, syempre, doon ka magbabayad ng iyong tax. So, gaya nga ng sample ko kanina, kung RDO 54 is located in Cavite, somewhere in 13, so, doon ka nakatira. So, again, doon ka magbabayad ng tax. Ang business mo ay nasa Cavite, again, doon ka magbabayad ng tax. Saan kang munisipyo, locally, meron kang babayaran na property tax, o kung anumang taxes, or cedula, etc. Nakatira ka sa, kunyari, sa General Trias, o syempre, doon ka magbabayad sa municipality or city ng General Trias. And then, we have sources of taxation. So, ano-ano ba yung mga sources ng taxation? Syempre, yung mga nagawang batas, yung mga revised penal code, etc. Kung ano man yung batas na yan, under ng yung 1972 rulings. So, ano pa? Basta lahat ng klaseng batas, doon ang gagaling ang taxation. So, ibig sabihin, walang taxation kung hindi yan isinulat and inamend ng mga matataas na under ng government. Classification of taxes, so marami yan. So, later na lang natin i-discuss kung ano-ano yung mga tax na meron tayo. Mamaya naman, i-discuss natin yan under train law. Okay, so sino-sino yung mga dapat magbayad ng tax? So, number 1 that we have is the resident citizen. So, sino ba yung resident citizen? Siyempre, yung Pilipino na lumaki at nagtrabaho dito sa Pilipinas. So, magmula maliit hanggang sa panganak, hanggang sa nagtrabaho, siya ay nandito sa Pilipinas. Okay, non-resident citizen, sila ay mga Pilipino na nagpunta abroad. So, kung sila ay 181 days nang wala dito sa Philippines, ang tawag na sa kanila ay non-resident citizen. So, 181 days above, tatawagin na silang non-resident citizen. Pero syempre, yung tax nila, i-share nila sa government through having the dollars or kung ano man yung money na i-share nila sa government. Okay. So, yung mga foreigner naman na nagtrabaho dito sa Philippines, okay, so they are earning here in the Philippines, syempre yung tax ng sahod nila or ng sweldo nila will be provided also here. So, ang tawag sa kanila is resident alien. Okay? So, sino naman yung mga non-resident alien? So, sila yung mga tourists na dumalaw dito sa Philippines, nag-withdraw sila ng kanilang mga dollar, yan. Nagpunta sila sa mga hotels, sa travel nila, dun sa ating mga localities, yung mga binibili nila. So, kung ano man yung binili nila, nag-share sila ng tax dito sa Philippines. Okay. Lesson 2 is about train law. So, when you say train law, ito yung bagong batas or taxation law. It is also called as Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Law. So, sino ba yung nagpauna nung train law? So, nung buhay pa si President of the Senate of the Philippines, Edgardo Angara, siya yung nag-share na dapat raw magkaroon ng train law. So, si Edgardo Angara ay nag-serve as Philippine President of the Senate noong 1993 to 1995. He was also a senator from 1987 to 1998 and also served as Secretary of Agriculture from 1991 to 2001. He also served in the Senate again from 2001 to 2013. So, he was born on September 24, 1934 and died on May 13, 2018. So, today, according to Angara, train law is more precise, manageable, and easy to understand and acquire a friendliest way to pay our taxes. So, actually, yan ay totoo kasi during 2017, wala pa yung train law, mahirap mag-compute ng tax. Kasi ang daming table. Unlike ngayon, isa na lang yung table na titingnan mo. So, mas madali na rin siyang intindihin kung sakali na may ibang table na gagamitin. Okay, so Train Law is a Republic Act number 10963. So, tandaan nyo, it is a Republic Act 10963 and it is based on Senate Bill number 5092 which consolidate 31 Senate bills. So, 31 Senate bills, so matagal na proseso yan. 3 House bills and 3 Senate resolution. So, according to Angara, the result is very comprehensive and ambitious tax reform which reduces the income tax of 99% of individual taxpayer. Tama yan, kasi during that time, bago pa nagkaroon ng Train Law, kapag ikaw ay single, yung mga working na single, so even though maliit yung kanilang kita, they are subject to tax. Unlike ngayon, even though you are single, married, pare-pareho na yung computation ng tax. Or meron kang mga anak, so yung computation ng tax, as long as yung kita mo or yung earnings mo ay hindi pa umaabot ng 20,833.33, they are not subject to tax. Pero syempre, kapag tumaas na yon, syempre magbabayad ka na ng tax. So, ayan. So, sabi niya, pinatayo raw talaga yung Train Law kasi gusto ng government yung ambitious, ma-finance yung ambitious na Build program and other worthy project like rebuilding Marawi and upgrading our defense and police forces among others. So, yun yung pinaka-purpose kung bakit nagkaroon ng Train Law. So, Train Law also focuses on maintaining fiscal discipline and adhering to the true principles of taxation. So, ano ba yung principles of Train Law? Number 1 is fairness, simplicity, and efficiency. So, FSE. Fairness, simplicity, and efficiency. So, according to Senator Sani Angara also, Train Law has ability to create new wealth and see to its fair distribution. Number 2, they started to build a team, the team of social justice, which is its moral arc and its dominant purpose. And number 3, according sa kanya, na ano yung bill on September 20, 2017 to simplify the tax code, to create the environment, to expand the tax base, and make payments easier. So, Train also addressed the following: the bracket trip on income tax, yun, tax relief for public and private sector employees, and issue on paying the right tax for the self-employed and professional. So, President Rodrigo Duterte during that time, also known as Digong and Rodi, is a Filipino politician who is the 16th and incumbent president of the Philippines. So, he was the first from Mindanao to hold the office. He is the chairperson of PDP Laban, the ruling political party in the Philippines. He is a lawyer by profession and finished his law proper at San Beda College. So, he was born in March 23, 1945 in Maasin City, Davao. So, he became president on June 30, 2016. So, si Duterte ang nag-sign ng RA 10963 or Train Law on December 19, 2017. And then, nag-start gamitin ang Train Law starting 2018. So, inamend ito ng 69 section of the NIRC Code, created 8 new section, and repealed 3 section. Okay. According to our President, the Train Law is a breakthrough in legislative history. Okay. So, ito yung mga features ng tax law. So, ito yung mga nabago or na ano yung computation. Medyo mas napadali ang computation. Yung computation ng personal income tax or yung tinatawag na withholding tax. Tax on passive income tax. Okay. Fringe benefits. Optional standard deduction o yung paggamit ng 40% expenses percentage kapag wala kang maipakitang libro. Filing of income tax, pinadali na yan, and payment of taxes. estate tax, so instead of having different tables, gaya ng donor's tax, so ginawa yung 6%. So, kapag sumobra ng 250,000, yung more than 250,000, they are subject to 6% tax. And then we have the value-added tax, the cigarette income tax, and petroleum income tax. So, ang nabago dito sa dalawa, mas lumaki ang taxes nila. Naging times 2. Kasi yan daw ay mga sin tax, yung mga hindi naman ginagamit talaga, pero inaano pa rin ng tao. And then we have the automobile excise tax. Yan yung lumaki. So, dyan nag-earn ang government. Tax on cosmetic measures. So, dati wala yan tax. So, ngayon ay they are subject to 5% tax. Sweetened beverage tax. Ayan, tumaas yan yung mga juices. Excise on mineral products. Documentary stamp tax. Admin measure. Repeal provision. Income tax exemption. And VAT exemption on agriculture, health, environment, housing, electricity, industry, and others. So, lesson 3 is about government contribution. So, start na tayo talaga ng lesson natin sa ating taxation. So, we start muna sa private employee government contribution. So, we have our SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. So, yung SSS is based on SSS table or the salary range. So, mostly, ang basis ng kapag employee, you need to compute, kapag nakuha mo na yung salary range ng sahod mo, you need to compute 5%. So, salary range times 5%. And then, sa ER, kapag yung kita ng salary range ay 0 to 20,249.99, then you need to multiply 10% plus 10 pesos. Pero kapag sumobra na sumobra na siya ng 20,250 above, magko-compute ka ng 10% plus 30 pesos. Okay. Sa PhilHealth naman, yung employee share mo ay 2.5%, same as true with ER share of 2.5%. Sa Pag-ibig naman, so maximum ng PhilHealth is 100,000. So, ibig sabihin, 100,000 times 2.5, so 2.5 yung pinaka-maximum contribution. So, sa share naman is mostly 200, ganun din sa ER. Kaya lang, kapag below 10,000 yung earnings ng tao, kunyari, yung sahod ng katulong, 7,000. So, instead of deducting 200 pesos, you only need to deduct 100 pesos doon sa earnings niya. Kasi below 10,000 siya. So, ito yung table ng SSS. So, kung nahihirapan kayo, just see the table. Ito yung maximum salary credit. So, ito yung tinatawag na range, yung sinasabi ko kanina. And then, sisilipin nyo kung ito yung, dito kayo magko-compute ng amount. Okay? So, kunyari, range ng 8,750 to 924,999. So, ang salary range niya ay 9,000. So, kapag employee, you need to compute 9,000 times 5%. Kapag naman employer, you need to compute 9,000 times 10% plus 10 pesos. Okay? So, ganun lang kadali. So, example, dito naman, yung sahod mo ay, salary range niya ay 22,250 to 22,749. So, naka-angkla siya sa 22,750. So, ang gagawin mo, ayan, ang gagawin mo, yung regular SSS or EC mo, ang 20,000 kasi, nag-start yan kapag ang earnings mo ay hanggang 19,749.99. So, stagnant na yan. Yung pinaka-regular SS mo is 20,000. And then, yung MDF ay pababa ng pababa. Pero huwag nyo na pahirapan sarili nyo. Ang tingnan nyo lang is yung salary range. And then, mag-compute kayo ng 10%. And then, again, pagdating sa 10% plus 30 pesos. Kasi sumobra na kayo sa 2249.99. So, kapag sumobra na doon, ang magdadagdag ka ng 30 pesos, yun yung tinatawag na employer's compensation. Additional yun. Ginagamit ito kapag nagkakasakit yung empleyado. So, pwede mong i-claim yung EC or yung employer's compensation. Maliban dun sa i-loan mo. So, kasama yun sa pwede mong benefits na pwede mong makuha. Pero sa employee, same as true, ganun pa rin, 5%. Okay, so may sample tayo dito. Ito ay employee share. So, ito ay share ng empleyado. So, for example, ang sahod niya ay 40,000. So, sa Pag-ibig, 200 pesos yun kasi more than 10,000. So, kung yung sahod niya ay 20,500, again, 200 pesos yung kanyang share. Dito naman, dahil 8,000 lang yung salary niya, so, ang share niya is only 100 pesos. Okay? Sa PhilHealth, so PhilHealth is 2.5%. Diba? Doon nakalagay sa ano. So, 40,000 times 2.5%, 1,000. Dito naman sa 22,500, so we need to compute 22,500 times 2.5%. So, meron tayong 562.50. And dito sa 8,000, we need to compute 8,000 times 2.5%. So, yung share mo is 200 pesos. Okay, SSS, employee. So, alam nyo, employee, di ba, 5%. So, 40,000. So, maximum na yung 40,000 kasi ang maximum ng SSI, 34,750 up to 100 million. So, dahil max na siya, ang share niya is 1,750. So, no need to compute kasi maximum na. So, 1,750. So, sa 22,500 times 5%, so, yung share niya is 1,125. Dito naman sa 8,000, so we have 8,000 times 5% is equals to 400,000. So, ibig sabihin, kapag sumahod ka ng per month, hindi mo yan makukuha ng buo. Kasi, kunyari, 40,000 sahod mo. Babawasan ka na ng 1,750, 1,200, plus yung tax. Hindi pa natin nako-complete yung tax. So, later, sa next lesson natin, we'll start with the computation of our tax para mas malinaw sa inyo. Kasi medyo mahaba pa yung proseso bago tayo makapag-start ng computation ng ating tax. Gagawa pa tayo ng payroll muna para maintindihan nyo. Okay. Next is private employee. ER naman. So, employer naman. So, ito yung benefits mo. Kasi yung kanina, binabawas sa sahod mo. Pero ito naman, idinadagdag as benefits mo. So, ibig sabihin, yung share mo at yung share ng employer mo, pinagsasama yan. So, yun yung share mo. Kaya kapag ikaw ay nag-pension na or 60 years old ka na, medyo malaki yung makukuha mo. Kasi nga, meron tayong tinatawag na benefits. Aside from bonus or 13-month pay, meron tayong benefits sa ating mga employer. So, ito, yung sa Pag-ibig, again, 200 kasi 40,000. Sa 22.5 is 200, and then sa 8,000 is, because it's less than 10,000, so it's 100 pesos. So sa PhilHealth naman, you multiply 40,000 times 2.5, so we have 1,000. 22,000 times 2.5, we have 562.50. 8,000 times 2.5, we have 200 pesos. Sa SS, again, this is employer, so we need to have 10% plus 10 pesos or 30 pesos. So, sa 40,000, we have maximum na 3.5. So, maximum kasi ng employer is 3.5 and then mag-a-add tayo ng easy na 30 pesos. Kaya 3.530. Okay, sa 22,500, so we have 22,500 times 10%. So, we have 2,250 plus plus 30 pesos, so we have 2,280. And then we have 8,000, so we have 8,000 times 10%, and because it is below 20,249.99, we only add 10 pesos. Kaya yung sagot ay 810 pesos. Okay. So, public employee government contribution. So, dito, dahil public na siya, instead of SSS, we have GSIS. And then, partner pa rin siya. GSIS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and withholding tax. Okay? So, sa GSIS, ang employee share ay 9%. Ang employer ay 12%. Sa PhilHealth naman, same pa rin. Ang EE share ay 2.5%. Ang employer ay 2.5%. Sa Pag-ibig, we have 200 pesos. Sa employer, 200 pesos din. Pero kapag below 10,000, again, it is only 100 pesos. Okay, so ito yung iba naman yung the way kung paano pinapasahod ang employee. Kasi meron, kapag sa government ka nagtatrabaho, may tinatawag na salary grade 1 to 33. So, dun magbe-base yung sahod mo. For example, ikaw ay administrative assistant 1. So, sabi ang salary grade nun is only sa SG3. So, titignan mo na ngayon. So, wag mo pakialaman yung mga step-step. Sorry po. So, ang titignan mo ito. So, kung salary grade 3 siya, so ang sahod niya ay 16,486. Then, dun ka na magpo-proceed ng computation. For example, lawyer siya. So, sabi ang sahod niya is salary grade 23. Yan. So, ang sahod niya pala ay 91,306 a month. So, ganun kalaki. Okay. For example, ang sahod kunyari ni Senator Robin Padilla is SG 28 kasi base din niya sa natapos. So, yung SG 28 is 167,129. Siyempre, kung malaki sahod mo, malaki rin yung deduction mo. So, ganun yung natin, computation. Okay. So, let's start with our example. So, this one is a public employee government contribution. Pasensya na, hindi ko nabura. So, EE share. So, we have Pag-ibig, SG 31, so whatever it is, as long as it is not below 10,200 lahat yan. So, Pag-ibig ni SG 11 is 200. Si SG 2 ay 200 also. Si SG 30 ay 200 pesos. Sa PhilHealth naman, you need to compute 2.5% hanggat hindi pa siya umaabot ng 100,000. Kasi ang pinaka-maximum natin ay only 2,500 contribution. Okay. So, kung SG11 siya, we have 31,705 times 2.5%. So, we have 792.63. Kung SG2 naman, na merong 15,522, so you need to multiply 15,522 times 2.5%. So, we have 388 pesos 0.05. Si SG3 at 30 na malaki yung sahod, 210,718. So, ang maximum is 2.5. So, 2.5 yung ibabawas sa kanya. Okay. Sa GSIS, again, this one is employee. So, ang computation ay 9%. So, ang gross sale natin, gross salary is 31,705 times 9%. So, ang share niya is 2,853.45. Sa SG2, sahod niya is 15,522. So, multiplied by 9%. So, ang share niya is 1,396.98. Sa SG30, na malaki yung sahod, syempre, pag malaki, malaki rin yung kaltas. So, 210,718 times 9%. So, ang binabawas sa kanya is 18,964.62. Okay. Next is we have the public employee o government contribution. We have Pag-ibig, 200. Ayan, 200 lahat yan kasi below 10,000, above 10,000. Sa PhilHealth, you need to multiply by 2.5%. Same pa rin ng computation kanina. So, 31,705 times 2.5% is equals to 790.63. 15,522 times 2.5% is equals to 388.05. And maximum na siya, kaya 2.5. Okay, GSIS, employer share. So, we have 12%. So, 31,705 times 12%. So, ang share niya is 3,804.60. Sa SG2, having 15,522 times 12%. So, share niya is 1,862.64. Okay, sa SG30, 18.12. So, we have 25,286.16. Buruan mo, almost 1/4 ng sahod niya ay napunta lang sa GSIS. Okay. So, discuss ko lang yung part ng lesson 4, pero para at least alam nyo lang. So, aside from SSS, GSIS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig. We also another deduction which is the withholding tax. So, ito yung bracket or yung basis ng computation. So, this one is gross income per year. So, you need to divide it pa by 12 upon getting the amount of our tax. Kaya lang, bago ka makapag-compute nito, kailangan mo munang malaman how much is the 13 month, kung merong allowances, tapos ibabawas mo doon lahat ng SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, para at least mabawasan yung tax na babayaran niya. So, kapag nagawa mo yon, that's the time pa lang na magko-compute tayo ng withholding tax per year and withholding tax per month. So, that will be our lesson 4. So, sa lesson 4 na natin yan i-discuss kasi mabibigla kayo sa computation. So, what you need to do na lang is to answer the exercises. So, wag lang isama yung taxation muna kasi hindi ko pa na-discuss. And then, submit it to me sa aking table. Kasi nga, meron akong duty sa main office. Kaya, instead of discussing it sa room, dito muna natin discuss. Okay? So, that ends our lesson 1 to 3 and I hope you understand the lesson. If not, pwede nyo namang ulitin and intindihin. Meron naman akong table na binigay sa inyo para mas maiano nyo yung sagot. Again, thank you for understanding. So, next meeting, we will have our meeting na orally. Ibig sabihin, present na ako sa Monday. Bye-bye guys.